Many people think the scariest thing was my, let's say, mission as a undercover agent or whatever it is. But this was actually wasn't the most scary thing. The most scary thing back in the day was to walk alone, to be alone and not be able to share anything with anybody about your mission or the things that you were doing.
Ever since October 7th, I've been wanting to interview one person more than any single person on this planet, and that is Mosab Hassan Yousef, the son of Hamas. He was in Hamas himself, and I, after 2 months, finally got a hold of him after, you'll hear about it, after all the scams that I had to go through in order to finally get the real Mosab. He is someone who is in hiding because he is threatened every single day of his life, and he gives what really Hamas is truly about, and he gives his perspective on what he thinks about the Jewish people and the future of Israel, America, and the world. This episode is in memory of Shin David ben Yaakov Shlomo, as well as Miriam Sarbas Yaakov Moshe. This is not your typical episode for Living L'Chaim, and you will hear about 4 incredible sponsors. You'll hear about your new career path with Purple Steers. You're going to hear about why Touro is maybe the right school for you or your child. You're going to hear about the beautiful apartment that you could be winning with the Dream Raffle, and you're also going to hear about the incredible work that Colel Chabad does for Israel's neediest. Now, without further ado, my conversation with Mosab Hassan Yousef. Thank you, Mosab, for being on Living L'Chaim. First off, let's get right into it. What was your childhood like growing up in the West Bank?
Yes, first of all, nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
My childhood was just another child in the Middle East. I was surrounded with lots of violence, bloodshed, violence from the family, from society. It's very tough for children to grow up in such a culture. Or maybe it was only me, my reality. At least I can speak on behalf of myself as a child. It was not an easy ride throughout that society. I had many problems. I was just an innocent child trying to figure out why I was there. And the society did not have mercy. Let's put it that way.
Did you, at that early age, understand what Hamas was? Did your father expose you to things that they were actually doing at that time?
You know, even today, I'm a grown-up and I cannot understand Hamas completely. Don't you see the whole world is shocked? Hamas started back in 1987 as a seed. And there is a big difference between a seed and a tree. It could take 100 years for to see the fruit of a certain tree. At the beginning, it could look a very nice bush. It could have even flowers in it. But as it develops, as it grows, you get to see actually what it is. And right now, I think after October 7, we see the actual fruits of Hamas tree, if I can say.
Growing up, what was your direct involvement in Hamas, and what did you think towards Israel and Jews?
First of all, I'm the oldest son of one of the founders of Hamas and top leaders. Today, he's considered the spiritual and historic leader of Hamas. So basically, I was in the heart of Hamas decision-making. I witnessed many of their meetings. I was an eyewitness for their development. At some point, I was the president of the Islamic student movement in our town. I advocated on behalf of Hamas and the Islamic movement. There was no event that I did not participate in. And just being the oldest son of someone who dedicated his entire life to the Hamas project can give you an idea what my life was like, witnessing Hamas project grow. At some point, I was arrested by Israel for purchasing guns. And I spent 16 months in Israeli prison. And this is where I basically saw the real and true nature of Hamas during that imprisonment, where I witnessed Hamas brutality firsthand.
So in Israel, when you're in the jail there, what was the shift that you actually saw? You mentioned that you saw something in Hamas. Like, what did you see that you're like, wait a second, what they're doing is bad?
Basically, they were torturing people and killing people. Dozens, if not hundreds, of prisoners over a period of 5 years were killed on the hands of Hamas for the suspicion of collaborating with Israel. And their torture was brutal. And this was not the only brutality I witnessed from Hamas inside prison, also outside prison. Their violence towards me as a child, how many times they beat me up for not meeting with their expectations. And of course, the rigid indoctrination that hated Israel and hated anything outside of Hamas, not only Israel, but also Palestinian rival movements. So we're talking about a death cult, very close-minded people that don't respect the other, don't respect any other race or any other religion, not even other Islamic religious sects. So we're talking about very close-minded people. And of course, I start having a problem with them since my childhood, but at the present time, the gap widened a lot more.
Could you take me through, like, in their heads, does Hamas think they're evil and they're doing bad things? Or do they think, no, the rest of the world is evil and they're doing good things? Like, what's their vision?
Their vision is twisted. They don't see things for what they are. They are influenced by very dangerous dogma, very dark level of human delusion that I haven't seen worse than that case. I've seen human delusion. I have experienced human delusion myself. And it's my daily fight against my own delusion and misperception of reality. But when it comes to Hamas and their delusion, it's something unheard of. I have traveled throughout cultures. Hamas, nothing can be compared to Hamas and their delusion. So of course they see that they are right. This is the trick of their mind. And this is why they're very dangerous, because they actually don't think that they are doing something wrong. They think that they are doing something sacred.
When you made that shift to officially part ways from Hamas and that mindset, internally, emotionally, what did you have to go through? Because technically, if you're making that shift, you're basically saying your whole life is kind of a lie.
Right. Well, maybe life is a lie itself. First of all, it was not a turning point that made me, let's say, change agendas. Many people change agendas based on their interest. But in my case, it has been an evolution, and the evolution is not over yet. It's my life journey and all the chain of events that brought me to this place, and the chain of events that would actually continue from this point on. Every small event or big event made a difference in my life. And every day of my life has been a brick in this structure. And I choose to build my life on solid foundations. I do everything within my ability to stay truthful to who I am, what I perceive, and how I act based on it, regardless of personal interest and regardless of risk. Most importantly, not to be afraid. So of course, there are moments when we are not sure, especially when we go against the flow of a society, when I personally had to go against the God, the Holy Scripture, the religion, the interest of the family, and to disappoint parents. Nobody wants to disappoint their parents, no matter what. But in my case, there was no choice, because as you see, 20 years later or 25 years later, after the choices that I made back in the day, look at where Hamas ended and what Hamas eventually what type of destruction they brought to the universe. So I am certain that I made the right choices, even though things weren't clear. And sometimes things are not clear. But if we are truthful, if we are not driven by desire, let's say, then we are able to see things a bit clearer. And if we long the truth, if we were sincere in our pursuit to truth, then existence, life will reveal the truth to us.
Beautiful answer. So you're talking about being afraid. Could you think of what the scariest moment in your life has been up until this point?
You know, many people think the scariest thing was my, let's say, mission as a undercover agent or whatever it is. But this was actually wasn't the most scary thing. The most scary thing back in the day was to walk alone, to be alone and not be able to share anything with anybody about your mission or the things that you were doing. Because you are on your own and you don't know, you don't have a mentor to go and ask a question for help or for some emotional support or for someone to actually encourage you in difficult moments where you had to make a decision. And every day there were hard decisions to make. I was taking a risk on behalf of people I didn't know. And I was not looking for a reward, because if there was any reward in sight at that time, it was death penalty. So most importantly, you don't want to get caught. And most importantly, you carry on into the unknown, trying to do the best within your ability to save a human life. And this was basically my anchor. This was my anchor because every time when I had doubt, I asked myself, how can I go wrong saving a human life? And the answer was all the time that there is no way in the world that I could be doing something wrong by saving a human life. And this is how I carried on.
What makes you different than so many people that are involved in Hamas, and obviously they're scared to leave and maybe they would want to? What's different about you that you said, I can't do this anymore? Like where did you get that strength from?
You know, it's not that I'm different. I'm just a human like everyone else. It's just, are we willing to pay the price for the truth? Are we willing to walk the walk? Are we willing to take the risk, to explore? Because the convenient truth is a false form of truth. But when we allow ourselves to drop our ideas, to drop especially our personal interest, national interest, to drop the cause, then we are able to see things, to see, let's say, the bigger picture. But this is not an end by itself. It just keeps expanding. We keep on expanding in our knowledge. And the more knowledge, the more information, the more intelligence we have, the stronger we become. And our perceptual ability becomes sharper and sharper. So it's a process. It's not like, you know, everyone has the potential. Everyone has the potential and can grow out of ashes to become a phoenix if we choose to. But the question, are we willing to pay the price or not? In my case, I took the risk and I paid the price. I still take the risk today. You know, don't think that it was only 25 years ago when I made hard choices. Well, every day I'm making hard choices. Today we have all type of attacks from everywhere, not only from Hamas, from campuses, from what's so-called liberals, what's so-called free people. Many people are attacking us. And every day I ask myself, what the heck is going on? You know, so it doesn't matter what the world thinks. What we need to do is to take the risk, to die every day to who we are, and not be afraid to drop our interest, to drop our desire of whatever it is for the sake of truth. If we have this kind of power, then we keep on growing. And this is not the end of my journey. It's not like I achieved, you know, the ultimate by just dropping what's so-called Palestinian national interest and I followed some other political interest. It's not like that. My life journey continues today and tomorrow.
Okay, we will be right back to this conversation with Mosab. But first, I need to tell you guys about the past few years, how I have been involved with the Dream Raffle. And here to tell you a little bit more is Shmuel. Shmuel, tell us what people could win this year.
First of all, I have to give you a big, gigantic yasher koach on this interview. It's an incredible interview. He's an important person, and his words are very important, and I hope people will listen to everything he's saying and take it to the next level. Now to the Dream Raffle. This year's Dream Raffle is really more important than ever before, because in addition to the possibility of winning a $1 million luxury apartment in the heart of Yerushalayim, and that's yours forever, we also have a bonus raffle of $10,000 cash, and you can win both. In addition to that, the money this year is going to help Israel during these challenging times. We're helping farmers in the Gaza area rebuild their farms. We're giving money to lone soldiers who are fighting and risking their lives thousands of miles away. We are supporting the search and rescue efforts of the Israel Dog Unit. We are involved in so many things. The Kitot Konenut, these are local civilian security teams that are providing security for settlements and towns. Incredible things that we're doing. And the money comes from the Dream Raffle. And right now, anybody who buys a ticket, we're offering a 2-for-1 special. Buy one, get two, buy five, get 10, and so on. Plus, there's a bonus raffle of $10,000 prize. And plus, because I love you, Yaakov, so much, anybody that adds the coupon code LL, Living L'Chaim, in addition to everything else, will take $10 off. So 2-for-1, bonus raffle, $10 off. And the most important thing, helping Israel in these challenging times. Now more than ever, Am Yisrael Chai with the Dream Raffle.
Okay, I have a good feeling about a Living L'Chaim listener being a winner this year, Mir Tashem, and keep up the incredible work you're doing, and thank you so much.
Colel Chabad, Am Yisrael Chai.
You have a very unique perspective because you were involved in the Hamas government and you're also involved in the Israeli government. You could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if anyone has been involved in both of those. Do you get angry when you see people who clearly have no clue what they're talking about? Like you see people in America, you see people in Europe being, like saying, oh, Hamas isn't that bad. We gotta, they're pretty good. Israel's the bad guys here. What do you say to that, to those people?
Look, it used to be frustrating to me, but by now I understand the human nature. Most importantly, I understand myself, and I can see humanity acting based on interest, short-term interest, compromising truth, because sometimes the truth means death. And many human beings are seeking for pleasure, to make a point at the expense of truth. It's all egoistic. And what can you do about it? It's part of the universal design that not all of us are able to see reality for what it is. And this type of people just keep the wheel of existence moving. And I will not try to change anything about it, because sooner or later they are going to see the same truth. But if, let's say, someone who has an experience of a certain field, that will have experienced it, has the, let's say, credentials, has the experience, has the knowledge, first-hand knowledge, first-hand eyewitness, first-hand perception of a certain reality, then they step forward and they tell you, this is what I witnessed in this reality, in this dimension of reality. Then people, let's say, discourage them or discredit them, attack them. Then this is a problematic. This is basically rejecting a messenger coming from a certain dimension, bringing a first-hand knowledge based on a certain reality. Because we cannot explore all dimensions of life and all dimensions of truth. So let's say if someone came from the Mexican cartel with knowledge about the drug lords, etc. You'll have to respect that, because if he has a first-hand experience, then he has the authority to speak on that. The scientist in a certain field has the authority to speak on that field. Same thing. So, but a majority of people have only opinion. They haven't experienced the truth, and they are arrogant. They prefer to stay in their ignorance, to just make a point, a political point, and they don't understand that by doing so, they are hurting so many innocent people, because by rejecting truth, they are increasing their own suffering, and they are increasing the suffering of the world. Suffering is the outcome of confusion, of falsehood. In fact, violence, the violence of Hamas today that we are experiencing, is rooted in ignorance and is rooted in human delusion, and is rooted in falsehood. In truth, there is no confusion. So eventually, falsehood and rejection of truth will eventually lead to violence. And this is why today, when I look at the United States campuses and many who speak on behalf of the Middle Eastern problem, advocating on behalf of savages, on behalf of Hamas, I say, wow, this is incredible, because what they don't understand, that this very falsehood, this is how Hamas started. They started with some false idea, and it took about 36 years to manifest one of the worst genocides of our time. So if we continue here in the United States, in Europe, everywhere in the world, our anti-Semitism or our hatred towards a minority or towards a race on basis of falsehood, eventually all of us are going to pay the price of violence.
Could you speak to the people who say, no, come on, Hamas actually cares about the Palestinian people. Israel are the evil ones. Israel's trying to kill all the people there. Could you speak to those people? These accusations are baseless. As someone who lived with Hamas in prison, if you want to get to know a group of people, stay with them in prison for 27 months. This is a little bit more than 2 years of daily life with Hamas monsters in prison. And those monsters in prison are the same troublemakers today outside the prison who are actually, who planned and committed the genocide. So I say that these people are not good news. It's as simple as this. I don't need to try so hard to convince the world that this is a group of people posed as nationalists, posed as freedom fighters, but in reality they are savages. And they just committed a genocide. The genocide was committed on October 7th. Is irreversible. Nobody can change this reality. Hamas captured footage, videos, documented everything they did with their own cameras. There is no more evidence. There is no more truth superior to this. So now, if we want to be in denial, and just say, no, it didn't happen, and they had the right to do that, then we automatically participating with Hamas. This is the danger. The moment we justify a genocide against a race, we become partners in the crime. This is what, this is not a political point of view. Freedom of expression is something. And I respect everyone's freedom to express themselves. But when it comes to anti-Semitism, Nazism, advocating on behalf of savages, barbaric group that is killing their own people, killing other people, endangering the global security, destabilizing an entire region, then we have a serious problem. This is not freedom of expression, not anymore. There is a very clear line where we stop. Terrorism is not freedom of speech. So where would you suggest, and it could be you don't have the answer here because it's a complicated question, where do you suggest we go from here? Like, what could Israel do? What could Palestinians do? Is there anything to be done now?
Look, Israel is doing the hardest part, and those who are on the front lines, those are the ones who are doing the hard work. It's not me, it's not you, and it's not all those who are sitting in comfort right now. The soldiers who are on the ground in the face of one of the darkest embodiment of evil, fighting on, I would say, 0 point combat with evil people. So this is the most important people on the front line, that they're doing the job. Thank God that we have brave soldiers who had to leave their lives, to drop their personal lives, to leave their families and be in such a situation. To those, I bow. Those are the real heroes. And this is the most important thing, that we defeat Hamas, we eradicate Hamas on the ground. I don't know how this is going to take and how long it will continue, but I pray that it's not going to be for a long time. And I pray that our soldiers and our hostages return to their homes safe and well. And I pray that Hamas be uprooted, destroyed, annihilated, to the last leader, to the last soldier they have. Because we cannot afford another genocide. We cannot afford having another Gaza war. So this is what needs to be done today. Now, post-war, things will be clearer. And I'm sure the world will do whatever it takes, including Israel, to heal the region, to heal the world, to build bridges. There will be time to talk about peace. There will be time to talk about economy and education. But as of now, we are at war. And I hope that soon we will be able to eradicate this monster.
We're about to get a little personal with Mosab, but first, I just need to tell you something that I just stumbled upon. Something so game-changing, I had to share it with you. So, you know that feeling when you're stuck in a job that's just not cutting it and you're secretly dreaming of a way out? Well, dream no more, because I've got the scoop on a platform that's revolutionizing the way people find better jobs. Yes, introducing Purple Steers, the undercover job seeker's best friend. Their mantra: get noticed by your next employer, hide from everyone else. I mean, how cool is that? It's like having an undercover ninja working overtime for ages. We've all been silently yearning for a platform like this, and guess what? It is finally here. So here's the genius part. Employers can easily browse through masked candidates. When they find a potential match, they can request the candidate unmask and reveal their full profile and identity. The key: the candidate decides whether to unmask their profile for a specific company. So what does this mean? This means that candidates maintain full agency over who gets to see their information. It's a privacy-first approach that ensures candidates are in the driver's seat, deciding when and how they connect with potential employers, whether they are keeping it under wraps or ready to shout it from the rooftops. This is not your run-of-the-mill job platform. It's an opportunity platform. Employers are going bananas over this concept, and they're already lining up to get in on the action. So, candidates, if you've been feeling a bit stuck, unhappy, or just plain curious about what else is out there, it's time to take matters into your own hands with your job search. So it's 100% free for candidates, so you should really give this a try, because why not? So sign up at purplesteers.com today, because trust me, when I put my name behind a game changer like this, you know it's the real deal. Go to purplesteers.com for the action. Your life is about to get a lot better. I mean, clearly you don't have a relationship with your father at this point, but do you have any form of relationship with anyone? Maybe your brother, maybe your mother, maybe you know, a good old friend. Is there any connection to your past, or none at all?
Not at all. My past, remember, I did not leave Hamas yesterday. It has been many years already. And my father disowned me. He was the first to disown me some 12 or 13 years ago. As well, my mother and my siblings. Of course, I am not sure that they did it out of their heart, but it doesn't matter. This was their decision. And many times I said, I don't like hypocrisy. They cannot disown me publicly and try to reach out to me in secret. I don't like this type of relationship. Either I'm your son or not. Mm-hmm. There is no halfway. You cannot tell the whole world, this is not my son, then reach out to me, as a father and say, I love you, you're my son, you're part of me. Doesn't work this way. Now, after October 7th, I always loved my father. I saved his life, and I always honored my parents. I still do honor them as my parents who gave me life. But my father, as a Hamas leader, I don't give him a cover, and I don't give him validation for whatever he was doing. This is why after October 7 and watching the genocide committed by Hamas, the 46 film massacre done by the IDF, I came to a point where there was no return, where I had to disown my father as well. Even though he disowned me 12 years ago, I always thought of him as my father, but we reached a point after October 7 that things had to be clear, that we had to define the lines, because if there is any personal interest remain there, we cannot win this war. And this was a situation where I had to disown my father. This is my expression. This is my way of saying that there is no compromission in the truth. This is the way I want to express to the world that when we are in the face of savages and barbarism is spreading like wildfire, and we are at the verge of total destruction if we allow that to happen. This is when we have to drop our tribal interest, to drop our personal interest, and stay truthful. If we are not able to demonstrate this, it is going to be a total destruction. So this was basically my message. It was one of the hardest things when it comes, to someone to disown his own father. And I hope that we will all be able to heal out of this situation and move on.
I can't even imagine how hard that was. I keep on thinking about there's in the Torah, in the Bible, there's a common ancestor of ours, Abraham. He's told by God to slaughter his son Isaac, and Abraham represented chesed, which is loving kindness and just being good and caring for people and giving to people. And then he has this wild mission from God of saying, wait, do you do it because you want to do it or because this is the truth? And God gives him this mission to slaughter his son. We know in the end, it didn't end up happening, but he was willing to do it because he says, you know what? I got to follow God. And I see it kind of the reverse of like you disowning your father as difficult as it is. And it's like, I can't even imagine. And you're still like, you know what? This is what the right move for me is to do. Do you feel like a similarity there?
Well, first of all, our father, Abraham, first of all, he disowned his own father. Remember?
Right. Yes. Good call. This
is how he started. He left his entire comfort, security, society, own father, and migrated into the unknown on a long journey with truth. So he was not only tested by if he had the capacity to let go. It was not about slaughtering his own son. This is all symbolic. Whoever wrote that, he was just referring to, are you willing to drop your attachment to your father, your attachment to your people, your attachment even to your own children when it comes to the truth? When it comes to the source, the creator, what do you choose? Do you choose your father? Do you choose your son? Do you choose your siblings? Or you always will have the truth first? And this is actually why we have crisis all the time, that our attachment, not knowing and forgetting that we all are going to die and get separated from those we love so much. So basically, it's not about violence as much. It's about the power, the inner power of individuals to rise above our personal interest and the limitation of our mind. So this is one of the most inspiring stories. It's not a story of violence as much. It's a story of power.
It's incredible. What does your life look like now? And how are you? Like, are you happy now? Are you constantly worried? Where are you emotionally?
Well, look, since prior to this war, I was leading a very simple life, and my mornings were very quiet. I had a creative project. I cannot talk too much about it, but I was part of this spectacular project, and we were involved with a bunch of engineers and architects. Then suddenly, the war happened, and I had to put everything on suspense, and it has been two months since then. It hasn't been an easy ride, especially for me. I had to go back to the 20, 25 or 35 years, even to my childhood and all the traumas of the past, which I thought, I had moved on. But then suddenly I had to explain to people. I had to stand in front of the United Nations and fight and yell at everybody. I had to speak Hamas language from day one, when I saw the situation, and I had a feeling that Hamas ideology is infiltrating the West. I got really, really angry, and I had to speak their language. So many of my friends who saw me is like, is this you? It was impossible for them actually to believe that I spent most of my day alone in silence. And my life was amazing and still amazing. But now we are at war, and many people look at me as like, what the heck is going on? You're very angry, and say, but we are dealing with one of the biggest crises of our time. What are you expecting? So I'm content, you can say, with the choices I made in my life. I don't know. I cannot say happy, because the other side of the coin is also being sad. So I don't go through these ups and downs. I was just forced back into this human drama, and I had no other choice but to express my very deep emotions to the world. But in my reality, where I live, as a normal person, I don't even claim happy or sad. I'm content with whatever life gives me. And as long as I have the sunshine and have my breath, I'm content and I'm satisfied. That's all I need. So I hope that this dark cloud will pass us, and all of us will go back to creativity, to being productive, and back to life.
One of my favorite moments with Mosab is actually coming up. We're going to be discussing the relationship between the Torah and Mosab. Well, you're going to hear all about it. But before this October 7th incident, massacre happened, we at Living L'Chaim were talking about Colel Chabad for almost a year now. We were talking to them on Kosher Money, and I've been talking to them on the show Inspiration for the Nation. But they've been around for over 100 years. And what do? They go ahead and help Israel's neediest, Israel's people in need. And that includes, obviously, orphans and widows and people who just don't have money. And they can't put food on the table. They don't have shelter. They don't have the basic needs to live as a decent human being. And they don't discriminate. They help the people of Israel. So your brothers and sisters who are in need in Israel, and unfortunately, there's so many. And of course, with what's going on, there's so many more people in need. But even without what's going on, there's so many people that need your help. So you could go to koleLchabad.org/living-l'chaim, or just kolechabad.org. You can find the link in the show notes, and open your hearts. We're always thinking, what could we do? And unfortunately, there's so many organizations out there that you can't trust. So Colel Chabad has their name, has their reputation. You probably heard of them, but if you haven't, the last 100 years, you could go check them out, see all the beautiful work that they do, bring smiles and happiness and joy and honestly, human decency back to the people of Israel. You can be part of it that help. And of course, with all our sponsors, when you help them, you help us, because they are helping us do what we do and get interviews with world-renowned people like Mosab who are making such a big difference. So go ahead and help colelchabad.org/living-l'chaim. Now back to my conversation with Mosab. Do you ever question that, like, you know, everyone has their struggles in life, but do you ever question, like, your situation is way more drastic than the typical? Like, if you take a step back, like, you're born into a terrorist group's family, like your father is, you know, one of the co-founders of Hamas, and you're giving all these missions to do these wild things. And then, you know, either you could live your life doing that, something you hate, or break off and have to shift your entire life. Do you ever question, like, why me? Why am I given this hard test?
Well, first of all, it's not a hard task. It's basically, it starts with a small test. And if you pass the test, then you're immediately into a bigger task. This is how truth reveals itself to us. This is how it works. And all depends on our capacity. Are we willing to keep growing? And this has been my life journey, as I told you earlier. So if I was only living in mind, and I was trying to accomplish, let's say, something personal throughout the challenge, I would break a long time ago. I would cease to exist many, many years ago. But now I understand that everything in this experience is just for me to learn. And I always welcome knowledge. I always welcome truth, even though sometimes it could burn and it could be lonely and it could be very heavy to carry, but this is okay, because the more we are able to face the truth with courage, not with fear, like when you see the face of God, that you are not afraid. Most people are afraid and they go into hiding. So no, it's the more we grow, the more we see, the more we are able to understand, to integrate. And this is always welcomed. And I don't have a problem with it. It's at the early beginning, I had struggles, you know, it was very heavy. But right now I say, bring it on. Whatever it is, bring it.
That's an awesome attitude. Are there any people that you look as heroes? It could be someone, you know, popular in the news, like, I don't know, like Elon Musk or one of the presidents, or maybe individual, someone in the Israeli army. I don't know. Who do you look at as your hero?
Look, there is no such a thing as a hero, not in this life. But they are individuals who fight the good fight. They are able to fight their own monsters. And I think those who reach the point they were able to master consciousness, master their own mind, know the difference between who they are and what they have perceived. Those are true warriors. And once you are able to fight a good fight, then you can fight another one, then you can fight another one. A hero sounds or feel like a destination. Mm. And true warriors never give up. Even if they win a war, or let's say they lose a war, they always continue to be warriors. They don't just drop their, let's say, armors and their swords and say, okay, this is a moment I want to become a hero. You know, then they stop growing. So the true heroes are unknown, and they are working against so many odds. Maybe some of us have achieved great reputation. We have created sophisticated things. We have invaded space, etc. But this doesn't mean that this is the highest potential. There could be a story that nobody heard about. Some child in an unknown society that is demonstrating the power of the universe, but not seen to the rest of the world. So with that said, I don't see heroes. I don't need heroes. All I need to do just to be and to stay truthful to who I am until the last breath. Like when the last breath is there and you know that it is over for this permanent physical body, that you feel that you're satisfied, that you have accomplished, that you did the best within your ability and you moved on peacefully to wherever you're going after. And that's enough.
Really incredible. Right before we started recording, you were telling me off camera about an event that just happened. Could you share what you were discussing right before we hit record?
Yes. One of my biggest concerns from day one, the IDF soldiers on the ground going into a territory filled with booty traps and bombs, tunnels, where a bunch of savages using human shields to kill those soldiers. And I did not want to be one of those soldiers. Truly, it's one of the hardest missions any modern army had to go through in our modern day. And that's the IDF. And I just saw this soldier getting hit by a grenade. And he fell. Then he stood again, and he kept fighting Hamas savages until he eliminated them. I mean, this is not Hollywood. What I was looking at, this is not Hollywood. You could see everything. You could hear it. I mean, if somebody shoots a bullet in a close range, it would deafen the person. You wouldn't even hear anything. So can you imagine a grenade thrown at you, in a foreign territory, in the face of savages, and you just carry on until you accomplish your mission, carry on wounded. This is something that is beyond imagination. To this type of warriors, I bow. It was so humbling to see something. This is just recently, by the way. It was just published by the IDF to show the resilience and the bravery of some of those fighters fighting on behalf of all of us. And to those, I truly bow.
Okay, we will be right back to my conversation with Mosab and his true feelings about the Jewish community. But first, I want to talk to you about something important. We're aware that anti-Semitism is unfortunately on the rise in many college campuses across the country. It's a challenging time for students who are seeking not just a great education, but also a campus that aligns with their values. If this resonates with you, I have some great news. Touro is opening its doors to students just like you during their upcoming instant decision enrollment period. This is your chance to join a community where your values are shared and respected without compromising on the quality of your education. So mark your calendars. From December 18th through December 29th, Touro invites you to apply and receive a decision within just 24 hours. Imagine, in less than a day, you could be on your way to starting an incredible journey at Touro NYSCAS, Lander College for Men, Lander College for Women, or Lander College of Arts and Sciences. They have a lot of stuff. At Touro, you'll experience not only a top-tier education, but also a community of dedicated faculty and a direct pathway to respected graduate and professional programs. So whether you're interested in medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, finance, law, accounting, business, computer science, or health sciences, Touro is here to help you learn, grow, and succeed. This is more than just an education. It's about gaining the skills, experience, and credentials you need to thrive in your chosen field. So Touro is committed to your success, and now is your chance to be a part of this vibrant and supportive community. Some of my best friends and siblings have excelled in their adult life, and they always say Touro played a pivotal role. So don't miss this opportunity. Apply between December 18th and December 29th for an instant decision. Visit touro.edu/instant decision for more information and take the first step towards a future where your values and your education go hand in hand. Touro is waiting for you. You can see a lot more about it in the links below. Now, back to my conversation with Mosab, the son of Hamas. When I was trying to get you for an interview, you're obviously very popular now, and everyone's wants to hear what you have to say. I went on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, and that day I noticed you weren't there, and I got very nervous because I'm like, wait, I know you have a big Twitter presence, and you weren't there, and then a few hours later, maybe the next day, you were there. What happened in between that you weren't? It looks like you got suspended or kicked off for a moment.
No, not at all. It was just a system glitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my devices are basically outdated, and I need to upgrade. I'm not into the whole social media thing. I avoided this. I did not have any social media account for many, many years, and I avoid, this whole reality, cyber reality. But I had to start over since October 7th because I needed to communicate with people. So every now and then there could be just a system glitch. And yes, they could shut me down. I think many forces are trying to attack my accounts or whatever it is. I will continue as much as I can.
I think Elon Musk is someone who, I don't know him personally, but I think he's someone who does stand for truth. So I don't think he's gonna, do anything to your account sooner. I think he sees what you're doing.
Well, let's see, because the some of the projects that I have coming in the future, they're going to be a little bit challenging, I think, for this platform. And I would like to see actually the truthfulness of Elon Musk, if he's actually has the capacity to handle big controversies or not. And I think in the next 6 months or so, one of my projects is going to send some tsunami waves into the Arab and Muslim world. And I want to see actually if this platform X will handle the truth. Or would handle the freedom of speech. So it's too early to decide. I was a little bit worried, about some of Elon Musk comments at some point, but I think now he corrected his position, and I'm glad to see that someone of his caliber is correcting his stand, and he's taken the stand with the right side, not betting on savages like many others, making the mistake of the century by betting on Hamas and betting on what's so-called Palestine. So I'm glad to be on this platform X, and I will continue as long as needed. And if one of the days you don't find me there, don't think that this is the end of me. It's just a social media account.
You should know. I'll say it on air. Why not? I was trying to get to you. So once I didn't see you on X, I went to other platforms, and there are people saying that they're you, and they are definitely not you. And they're asking for money to do interviews. So I'm happy to send to your team after all the fake Mosabs out there, because it's clearly not you. So we got to take care of that.
Yes, there's so many people impersonating me, and as you see, this is how false the reality we are living in, and I cannot stop them. But hey, there is me, and there are many people who want to be me for some reason. I hope they will get to carry some of my karma then.
Right. Fair enough. Okay, so I told someone that I'm interviewing you, and they didn't know much about you. I just gave them a basic background, and they're like, okay, so he's been on, I guess, the side of Israel for so long, but how do you know he's not like a double agent? Like, he's really, he's Hamas, and then he's making believe he's for Israel, but maybe he's still part of Hamas after all this. And I'm like, wait, so you say like the past 25 years of his life is like a shit, like... What would you respond to someone who's saying that, like, I don't know if I could trust you?
I don't know. I don't know how to respond to people like this. Yeah, it's if someone is living in fear and to this degree of non-trust, don't try to get into their head and try to convince them. They are a rabbit hole. Once you get in, it will be almost impossible to get out. We stand firm, I am what I am. And I cannot convince, there is no one under the sun who is not blamed. Everyone is blamed. It doesn't matter. You try your best. We stay truthful to who we are. And if the world accepts us, they accept us. If they don't, at least we know who we are.
I just want to finish off with this one last question. Is there, I mean, obviously you've seen a lot of darkness in your life and you see a lot of the darkness in the world. What words would you say to the people who, maybe it's the Jewish people, maybe it's anyone in the world that feels very scared about what's going on? What words could you give over that could maybe give them that strength or something to inspire them?
Look, the Jewish people are very, very dear people to me. And maybe in my life I met more Jewish people than you did.
Probably. You're a little older than me, probably.
It's not about age. It's about the circumstances of my life and where my journey took me. I met, I don't want to say most of the Jewish communities worldwide. Not only in the United States, but worldwide. I have traveled over the past 27 years within the Jewish communities. Wow. I met with mostly Jewish people. Hundreds of Jewish families opened their houses. I had Shabbat dinners with them. I met their children. I adopted some of their children. Some of their children call me uncle. And it's many people don't realize that actually the life that I spent with the Jewish communities is a lot longer than the life I spent in the Muslim world.
Wow.
It has been 27 years. So I am obligated to those families. I'm obligated to those communities. When the war happened, it's not like, it happened to the Jewish people and I'm an outsider. Then I came for help. It's just an attack against my own family. It's I did not act. I usually say we. And people say it's like, when you say we, what do you mean? And suddenly I need to think about it, because this is my people. It's not just a strange nation to me. So anyway, anyone who is intending to hurt the Jewish people, they are aiming at me as well. And this is not acceptable. Anti-Semitism is not acceptable. This is going to be our fight. And we are going to fight the good fight, because the Jewish people, from a personal experience, they have contributed so much to life. And I only saw in them light. One of the most wonderful people. I'm not saying that you cannot find weird phenomena here and there. But the collective consciousness of the Jewish people is pro-life, is for the world. The Jewish contribution is not only to the Jewish people. Everything in innovation, science, literature, technology, art, whatever it is, it's available to humanity. So with that said, I personally, on a personal level, appreciate the Jewish contribution to life. And I appreciate that the Jewish nation took me in. And I am very satisfied that we were able to build bridges of understanding and to see each other, to see light in each other, to love each other unconditionally. This is the model that we are trying to create and destroy all the barriers of hatred and human delusion. This has been my journey. This is the reality that I've been trying to manifest. So with that said, it's one family, and anti-Semitism is not acceptable. And I will fight it with everything that I have.
Well, Mosab, we really appreciate you. And I just want to finish off on one note. What does Mosab mean?
You need to ask my father who gave me this name.
Well, I checked it up. It says over here, and you tell me and I think it's very apropos. It means either bearer or one who carries or rescuer or savior. Is that accurate?
This is the first time I hear it. And
it's ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT.
Yes. Well, basically, this is what, it's a Muslim name. It was the first Islamic ambassador that Muhammad sent out to the world. And my father named me this even before I was born. It's basically the name that I'm known for. My official name on my official documents is completely different. It's my name by choice, but I cannot reveal it to public. So I go by many names. Many people call me different things, but I am one soul. And at the core of my existence is a very simple child. That's all.
Okay, I'm definitely not going to ask your father why he chose Mosab. I'm good with your reason. Mosab, I really appreciate your time here, and I wish you much success, contentment, happiness, and on behalf of the Jewish community and on behalf of the world, keep up doing what you're doing. You said before someone can't have a hero. I disagree. You're one of my heroes, and I can't imagine what you've been through, and your journey is not over yet, and I can't wait for your next projects and everything you're gonna work on to build the world to make it a better place.
Thank you. We do this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching or listening to this week's episode, this week's special episode. I've never released an episode during the week. That's why this is not, it's a Living L'Chaim episode. I don't know, but we're going to include it also on our inspiration podcast link. If you watch this on YouTube or listen to this on Spotify, go ahead and leave in the comments, hero. I know he's going to cringe and he's going to be seeing this and looking at the comments, but I want him to know that he's a hero, someone who's going against everything that he stood for in the past, because it's like, that is not the truth. That's why Mosab is a hero. So just leave a hero or leave your comments. We want to hear what you have to say. Maybe you have the solution for what should be done, how we could actually finally eradicate Hamas. We want to hear everything you have to say in the comment section. And of course, go ahead and please check out our sponsors. They're incredible. You should know there's a fifth sponsor of this episode, but I reached out to him about his business. He's like, no, I just, here's a donation to Living L'Chaim. So if you want to give a donation to Living L'Chaim, you definitely go on our website, give us a donation. But kudos to him who says, he said, this is beautiful. I love what you're doing. I don't need anything out of it. And I'm definitely going to repay him in ways he can't imagine, but I really appreciate that. But the other four sponsors that you do know about, go ahead and check out Purple Steers. Please go ahead, just test it out. You'll enjoy it. Go ahead, and if you have not given to Colel Chabad yet, or even if you have, give to them. They're Israel's neediest. If you want to win an amazing, beautiful apartment, go to the Dream Raffle. Obviously, use the code LL for $10 off, and also you'll be helping so many incredible organizations in Israel. And last but not least, go ahead and check out Touro. If you're not in Touro, it might be the right school for you. I know so many people have such an amazing experience there. And if you enjoyed this episode and you think it gives someone strength, it could encourage them to live a better life. Maybe you want to send it to your friend. Maybe you want to send it to your enemy. I hope you don't have enemies, but if you do, there's a lot of people that need to be watching this conversation. We want to amplify Mosab's voice, and we want more people to consume the truth. So until next time, till the Saturday night, Motzei Shabbos, are actually hitting you with an incredible inspiration for the nation, a little teaser. I flew to Israel for a few reasons. This person is one of the reasons I flew to Israel. And wow, we've been editing this episode until you're going to see this Motzei Shabbos. Until next time, keep on being a good person. L'chaim. Living L'chaim.